Hey, we're here today and we're releasing our Faces of Foreclosure Research Action Report, and we're delivering this report to the banks, to Wells Fargo, to US Bank, and to Deutsche Bank today. And we're basically asking the banks for three things. The first is responsible selling to responsible owners. We want the banks to sell their properties to responsible homeowners. The second is to get rid of the properties that are beyond repair, to demolish them, not at our expense, the taxpayers, but at their own expense. And the third, what we're asking is that each of these three banks to contribute $25 million each into a fund that will go to help rehabilitate these homes across our region. And our hope and desire is that the banks will begin listening, that they'll begin working with us, that they will listen to the people, that this is an extreme problem, and that they'll take action.
My name is Bob Conley. I'm a board member of Common Ground, a member of Jesu Catholic Parish on the Marquette campus. I'm also a small business owner and a customer of Wells Fargo. I do my business banking at Wells Fargo, and my wife and I have our home mortgage at Wells Fargo. Those gathered here today are members of Common Ground, representing the 50 organizations from throughout the 4 counties of Milwaukee, Ozaukee, Washington, and Waukesha counties who are Common Ground members. Your presence today shows the commitment we have to this campaign, and we thank you for coming. Common Ground is here today to publicly release our Faces of Foreclosure report. Hold them up. We're here today to release this report and to let Deutsche Bank, US Bank, and Wells Fargo Bank know it is time for them to fix the problem they created.
That's right.
We're asking them for $75 million to begin to do that. You broke it.
You fix it.
Almost a year ago, Common Ground leaders began examining the hundreds of vacant and abandoned homes in our region. It started at 22nd and Center with the members of Greater New Birth Church and moved out throughout the city and the suburbs. 250 Common Ground leaders have knocked on doors, taken photos, examined records, conducted a public hearing, and interviewed a wide variety of public officials and housing experts. All of that to prepare the report that you have today. We have learned that the large national and international banks have legal title to hundreds of foreclosed properties in our region, many of them vacant and abandoned. The 3 largest owners or trustees, which control 25% of the foreclosed properties in our region, are Deutsche Bank, based in Frankfurt, Germany, US Bank, based in Minneapolis, and Wells Fargo Bank, based in San Francisco, but right across the street. This foreclosure crisis was caused by these and other large national and international banks that marketed and invested in subprime mortgages primarily to the poor and the elderly. Our outrage grew as we learned that these banks used our money, we customers and shareholders, to make these speculative investments. When the financial crisis hit as a result of these bad investments, we, the taxpayers, bailed them out. These 3 banks alone received $42 billion in federal TARP money. Now our tax dollars are being used to service, monitor, and demolish many of these vacant and abandoned homes. Ladies and gentlemen, Common Ground is here today to say to Deutsche Bank, US Bank, and Wells Fargo Bank, you must take responsibility for the mess you created. You broke it.
You fix it.
Now, here's how they can fix it. Today we are announcing our 3 demands of these banks. You all have it in the booklet, and you have it in the little handout sheet that we gave you. The first demand. Since 70% of the foreclosed homes are being resold to speculators, the first demand is for responsible sales. We want these homes to speculators. We want to stop selling these homes to speculators through auctions and mass sales, and work with us to develop a plan to sell these properties to responsible owners. The second and third demands are these. Number 2, to pay for the demolition of the properties beyond rehabilitation, not the city paying for it, the banks paying for it, and donate the land to a community land trust for future residential construction. And thirdly, we want each bank to contribute $25 million towards a $75 million fund, which will be used to rehab and sell these properties to responsible owners. Pastor Willie Davis from Greater New Birth Church will illustrate why these second 2 demands are so important. Pastor Davis.
Good afternoon. As Pastor Butler stated earlier, we want our neighborhoods restored. My perspective is based on an image that haunts me every time I walk through our church's neighborhood. An image that has been embedded in my mind. An image of fear that has been placed on the faces of residents and churchgoers because of the decrepit, drug and alcohol invested neighborhoods which have abandoned homes that house drug dealers, thugs, and drug users. These vacant homes and abandoned homes need to be demolished. Others need to be and can be rehabilitated. I'm reminded of a little girl who clutched her hands of her mother as they asked if I could escort them to their car after Bible study. She was fearful. In this corner where their car was parked, which is not too far away from our church, had drug dealers and drunkards sitting on the steps, using profane language, and also looking and saying various very vile remarks to these individuals. Also, I'm reminded of a couple of elderly women of our church, mothers of our church, who were robbed one evening while exiting the church from thugs who ran near these abandoned homes. And as our security tried exhaustedly in their effort to locate them, there were so many abandoned homes, we didn't know which ones that they ran into. These and other incidents angered me, along with our congregation and along with the group of our church members and Emmanuel, along with Emmanuel Presbyterian and other CG members, Common Ground members, decided to get to the one of the root causes of these problems. We noticed more abandoned homes occupied these thugs, these crackheads, these drunkards, and these drug dealers. We also noticed the safety hazard these abandoned homes presented to the children that played in their own neighborhood. Residents who don't want to give up on their neighborhoods are paying rent to so-called owners who don't even own these homes. People are being hoodwinked, bamboozled, and led astray again and again. Something needs to be done with these homes now. This is an image that has to be changed. To take a statement from Deutsche Bank's set of values under their trust value, it states that we behave reliably, fairly, and honestly. All we're asking is that we want these banks to behave reliably, honestly, and fairly. You broke it.
You fixed it. We have begun to make contact with the banks. We have begun to ask them for meetings. But let me say to the banks right here and now, do not hide from your responsibilities. Do not hide behind the legal excuse that we're only the trustees. You are responsible. You broke it. You fixed it.